Hello and welcome to Joy in Our Town. I'm your host, Dr. David Banks. Today's focus, we're dealing with families and really helping families how to deal with loss. And we're so excited to have Hospice of Chattanooga here today with our guests, Julie and Marilyn. Ladies, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Talk to us, what is your position at Hospice of Chattanooga?
Sure. I'm the volunteer coordinator with Hospice of Chattanooga.
And your position?
And I'm a volunteer for Hospice of Chattanooga.
Excellent. Well, let's first deal with this issue when it comes to families dealing with loss. Very sensitive issue. So when you look at this, what do you see one of the biggest issues that families deal with when they're having to deal with a loss?
Well, there are many issues, when you're dealing with end of loss. It really affects the patient and the family. So there's a lot of dynamics involved. We take care of the whole person. It's a holistic approach. So physically, mentally, spiritually, all those things are issues that we cover with our patients and families.
Definitely, Marilyn, for you, when it comes to, dealing with the loss as far as with, a child, how do you see the effects of that when it comes to, explaining to a child about loss?
Well, so often I think we don't deal with death with the child beforehand, which is normal. I mean, we want everything to be happy and good. And then when a death does occur, here perhaps the parents are dealing with the trauma of this loss and trying to deal with that, and then trying to explain it to a child and trying to help the child while they're dealing with their trauma in their own life. I find that kind of a place where it needs some help. And I think that sometimes we need to talk about a loss with a child before it happens.
Well, definitely, Julie, when it comes to grief, so many people are going through so many things. So definitely, I'm sure viewers are looking in today and talking about loss and different things. How do you really kind of get through that denial stage when it comes to dealing with loss?
Our counselors are wonderful, and they're there to take the time, to just listen to them and let them process their feelings and normalize that for them. Some of them may not ever, get through that denial, and others will. It just depends on that person and where they're at.
Excellent. One of the questions I really want to present is so many times when a person is going through grief, you have so many people around them kind of giving them a timetable. It's been 6 months. You shouldn't grieve. You know where your person is, that's loved one. So can you really kind of give some credibility? It is proper to grieve.
Absolutely. It is very, very proper to grieve. It's, death is a very natural part of life. And that's what we do, in hospice care, is we let people know it's a very normal part of life, and we're there to help them through that sacred journey.
Excellent. I like that. For you as well, Marilyn, you're really giving people permission to grieve, because like I said, so many times people feel like, I want to cry. I really want to cry today. And it's been maybe, a couple of months since, the funeral has happened, but, I want to cry, but what will people say? How would you deal with, really letting people know, hey, if you need to cry today, that's fine?
I tell people that grief is like a gas, and I don't know if you remember from your science classes way back, but water fills water, you just fill it so full it doesn't fill the container. But with gas, no matter what size the container is, it will fill the entire container. Grief is like that. It fills the entire person. And as Julie has said, it's a journey for each person. Some of us will carry that grief until we die ourselves. But what the idea of counseling and help is that instead of that acute full where it's totally filled the complete container, is that we help the person learn how to carry that grief, just to carry it in a different way so that it's not consuming their whole being.
Wow. Julie, talk to us about the process of hospice, because, definitely people may have some misconceptions thinking that hospice has one focus. So really kind of give the viewers, what would you say is, like you said, the holistic approach of hospice?
Sure. Well, I would first start out and share with you our mission. And our mission is to take the time to listen, to honor their choices, and to walk with them through life's journey. That's our mission. In terms of that holistic approach, it's a team effort. It's not one person that takes care of the patient and family. It's a whole team. And it's really awesome to see the team work together. They're so very caring and compassionate. We have a doctor that is on board and takes care of the patient. We have the nurses. We have the CNA that helps with the bathing. We have a social worker that helps them with family dynamics or helping them with some of their wishes and things that they want to complete, some tasks they want to complete, or filling out their wills. We have volunteers that are part of the team that help with the patient and family, maybe providing a brief break. So we have a social worker, chaplains that help with spiritual care, nurses, CNAs, social workers. It's a whole team approach that can help provide physical, emotional, spiritual, and mental comfort to them and to their family members.
Wow. Here's one question, Julie. When does a family, what are signs for a family to see it's time for hospice? Give us that. Give us some information about that.
Absolutely. A patient typically will have increased sleepiness. They're sleeping a lot more. The patient will become maybe increased confusion. They're no longer able to bathe themselves. They're no longer able to feed themselves, do their, normal daily living exercises. They're not able to get up out of their bed or maybe even walk to go into the kitchen to make a meal anymore. Just some of those, basic normal things that we're able to do. Whereas for a hospice patient, they are just exhausted. Wow. And it takes everything out of them to be able to do those sorts of things.
Wow. And definitely, Marilyn, I see that you have written a book to really help children, how to help them. So kind of talk to us about your process of writing this to really kind of help children deal with loss.
All right. Being a hospice volunteer, of course, I'm maybe more aware of death and thinking of situations like that. I help my daughter out one day a week. She's a homeschooling mom with 2 little guys, my dear grandsons. And I looked at my grandchildren realizing that they have great grandparents that are in their late 80s and they're very close to them and love them. And I kept thinking, I just hated to think of them going through that loss, just all of a sudden having it sprung upon them. And I wanted to give them hope in the face of loss. And I really think that's key, giving them hope in the face of loss. And so our little grandsons had a little butterfly kit, and I saw a perfect opportunity to draw an analogy to the life-death situation that we deal with. And just the most incredible, explained it to him, it just came to me. And I'm sure that's a gift from God that sometimes you're just impressed with that. And a real life event happened that very same day. And within a couple days, just my talking with my grandchildren to hear his take on our lesson and the real life situation. And it just turned into a very beautiful story, even learning my grandson put into words what it's like to say goodbye at a funeral based on our little story of butterflies.
Wow. Also, Marilyn, another question for you. What really prompted you or really motivated you to be a hospice volunteer?
I had the most wonderful friendship with a widow lady for 25 and a half years. It turned into one of the most beautiful friendships in my life. And when my dear friend, I called her Grammy, and when my dear friend died, I said, I still have so much love to give. There'll never be another Grammy, but I still have so much love to give. What can I do? And that's when I began visiting at a nursing home, and from there, I've been doing that for about 12 years, and from there, a hospice worker saw my work and said, why don't you just make it official what you're doing? Come for the training, and thus I became an official hospice volunteer.
Wow. Also, Julie, as far as dealing with a family that has to call hospice, how would you really help a family, having to make that call, letting them know that, hey, this is a good thing what you're doing, how can you really kind of encourage your family when they make that call? You know, after they make it, you know, did we do the right thing?
Sure,
Was it the
absolutely.
right time? How would you work through that?
Absolutely. I would say go ahead and make the call and find out if the patient is eligible or not, you know, for hospice care. And most of the time they are eligible for hospice care. They are, you know, appropriate. And most of the public in general, you know, has a hard time, understandably so, saying, okay, it's time to call in hospice for my loved one. It's a tough thing to do, and I know that. However, if we can get people to call hospice sooner, it would be wonderful, because we can help that patient get their pain under control a lot quicker, help them with some of the emotional issues and challenges they're dealing with, helping them with the grief process, helping them, you know, be able to, you know, write down some of the things they want to get done beforehand. But what's been happening is that the patients, we're getting them literally maybe a few days before they pass away. So we go in, we admit the patient, and within a couple of days, that patient passes away. If we could get them sooner and we could admit them, we could get that patient's pain under control, and we could just help them so much more with, you know, various things, whatever kind of goals that they have. We could help them achieve those sooner. We have a patient recently that wanted to ride a train. Now, he was extremely, extremely weak, but we contacted the train station, and they were wonderful. They donated the tickets for him, and we helped him get into the train and ride that train. And that's a wonderful analogy, to hop on that train, and he really made so much. It was so meaningful to him to be able to go on that train ride. That was one of his last things to be able to do.
Excellent. Julie, give us some contact information. How would someone get in touch?
Absolutely. You can get in touch with us by calling us at 423-892-4289. That's our number. Or you can go to our website, which is www.hospiceofchattanooga.org. And if you're interested in volunteering, you can click the volunteer tab and you can fill out an application and get all that information as well.
Beautiful. Give that number one more time.
It's 892-4289, area code 423-892-4289.
Excellent. And Marilyn, how would someone be able to get in touch with you and also find out more information about your book?
They could call hospice at the numbers that Julie has given, and my website is www.butterfliesandbeyondbook.com.
Excellent, excellent. Well, definitely, we have about 40 seconds left. As far as your goal, as what you're wanting to do with your position, what would you say some goals that you have?
Some goals that we have is definitely to expand our volunteer services so that we can reach more of our patients and families. We have many, many patients and families that we'd be blessed to have a volunteer come and just spend a couple of hours once a week to sit with the patient so the caregiver can get a brief break. It's such a blessing for them to get that break. We also have a pet therapy program where if you have dogs that can get certified, they can see patients. We have a vet-to-vet program where we have veterans that can honor our patients by pinning them and giving them a certificate. We also have office administrative volunteers. Wonderful opportunities to give back, but primarily visiting with our patients and families is one of our big ones, but also indirect also.
Excellent. Well, Julie, Marilyn, thank you both so much for being here today and just really giving us insight. Thank you so much again.
Thank you for having us.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you too.
You're so
Bye-bye.
welcome.